Okay, this looks like my first video. Okay, my name is Jane B. Lee. I'm an author. My latest book out was The Red Bitch's Revenge. I'm going to talk a bit about that book, some of my other books, and my short stories and poems and things like that. The first thing is, this is my first video, okay, and my first YouTube thing, so I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, but I'm working at it. I've been doing book tours up until last Monday when that kind of got shut down. And I usually do, like I said, the tours in bars and restaurants is where I usually go to sell my books because I get a chance to sit and talk to each person who wants to buy the book, which kind of makes me happy. So now that we've covered that, then we'll talk a little bit about the book. The Red Bitch's Revenge is the first of the Love and Revenge series. The second book is Angel the Assassin, and the third book I haven't got a name for yet. So I'm working on that as well. The book, The Red Bitch's Revenge, is a big book. It's 141,000 words. That's 520 pages. Us authors work in words, not pages, because books can be different sizes. And so in this format, it's a 6x9 format, and it's like 520 pages. So it's twice as long as the average novel. So you're actually buying two novels in one. The reviews I've been getting on it have been wonderful. I've really enjoyed the reviews. People have really enjoyed the book. Some editors have told me that they didn't think I could keep the action going. It's an action-adventure novel. They didn't think I could keep the action going for that long, and they said it lasted right up to the last page, and they were really happy to see it. So that's about the book. Now let me tell you about The Red Bitch's Revenge. And usually when people buy books, first they look at the cover, and then they read the back. So in the back, I'll tell you what that goes. It is Dana, a seemingly innocent teen, descends into the dark underworld of drug lords and murderers. Relying on her martial arts skills for revenge, having witnessed the brutal murder of her mother, Dana begins her ruthless search for her mother's killers. Dana is quickly given the nickname Red Bitch by the drug lords she chases. When her lover is mistaken for the Red Bitch and is murdered, Dana redoubles her efforts and assembles a small crew of confident, successful, dangerous women and goes after the killers. Yet by day, her life revolves around her father's art gallery and her extended family. Can she live in both worlds, or will the depraved underworld get the better of her? So that's what it says on the back of the book. All my novels are about strong, successful, dangerous women. And this comes through on this book and the next book, which is Angel the Assassin. Let's see. One of the first things that people ask me is, how do I write my books? What process takes me to write a book? Well, it took a year to write Red Bitch's Revenge. And it took another 6 or 7 months to get it edited and ready to go. It's a lot of work. It was more work editing than writing. Writing was fun. Editing was a pain in the red bitch. Anyway, marketing is then another hurdle that we have to go through, and that's getting it advertised and published. Amazon's kind of a real pain in the ass in that because they don't like the word bitch. So I've been trying to work around that with them for months, taking the advertisement, taking the I out and putting it underlined, so it's the red B underline TICH apostrophe S. Still working on that. Haven't got that through yet, but I'm still working on it, and they'll get it sooner or later. A little bit about me, and that's on the back of the book too, and everybody asks about that. So my writing career started in high school, basically, And I began with poems and prose and short stories. And I've written poems and prose and short stories all my life. My first book so far was an assembly of poems and short stories and plays and short stories. And so that was my first book, and that was about 10 years, 12 years ago that I put that one together, just to bring everything together into one place. Some of the things that happen in my book are things that happen in real life. You take your life experiences and then you add fantasy to it, and it becomes a book, and in my case, a novel. A little education here. If it's under 25,000 words, it's a novella. If it's between 25 and it's between 25 and 50,000 words, it's a novella. Under 25,000 words, it's a short story. Between 50,000 and 110,000 words, it's a novel. And anything over 110,000 words is an epic novel. Mine's an epic novel. So I spent a bunch of time writing it. It took a year to write. Like I said, over 6 months to get it edited, and I'm still working on the marketing part of it. And I prefer to go out and market, like I say, person to person. So that's the fun part of everything, and the difficult part of everything. So people ask me how I go about putting a story together. How do I work on a story? Well, it's really kind of, everybody's got their own technique for writing books and writing stories. Everybody's got their own technique. And I have a certain technique that I use. You can go online, and there's a lot of people who will tell you how to write books. And if you want to, you can go to that and you can learn how to write books. I taught myself. So, but I'm getting great reviews, and I do great editing, so it's going good. But the way I write a book is I start off with a yellow pad. I have to use a yellow pad. If I use a white pad, I go blank. If I use a yellow pad, it's just trying to figure out which part of the story I'm going to put in it now and how I'm going to arrange that. So those are things that I work on while I'm writing on the yellow tablet. Each yellow tablet gets a chapter. So then I pile up the yellow tablets to make the chapter. The yellow tablets are like this, and as you can see, it's fairly clean, very, very clear. Okay, but as things happen, sometimes I make changes, and they go all over the place, to the back pages and to the front pages and in between the lines and all of that. That's just that far. Then as I write each chapter, the important people and things in the chapter then go into my notebook, my terrible falling apart notebook. And so I'll put in names, places, and things like that, so that when I go to other chapters, I can go back to the notebook and get the names and things I'm looking for that I've done in my research. And I do an awful lot of research for each of the books. I'm well traveled. I've been to 62 different countries so far, every state in the country. And like I say, those experiences then end up in the book. But fantasy is added to it. Some people call it lying instead of fantasy. I call it fantasy. No, actually, I call it lying. So that's what goes into getting the book. So we're going to talk a little bit about Red Bitch's Revenge, but I also want you to know that I'm on chapter 32, finally, of Angel the Assassin. So first I go, when you're writing a book, this is a good example. When you're writing a book, what I do is I change it to the computer. I move it to the computer. When I move it to the computer, it changes a lot. There's a lot of changes that go into going into the computer. When it's finally done from the computer and I print out each chapter as I go along, then what I do is then go read that and edit it. When I did Red Bitch's Revenge, when I started editing it, I took the first 5 chapters and I cut them off one at a time. It was like cutting off my fingers. 22,000 words just thrown away. They didn't fit the story anymore. And then another 5 chapters got changed too. They got not totally taken out, but what happened was they ended up in different chapters. They got broken up into pieces, a lot of it thrown out, and a lot of it just in other places in the book, other chapters in the book. There's 56 chapters plus an epilogue in the book. So that was how that one came together. The same thing is happening with this next book, which is Angel the Assassin. The book before The Red Bitch's Revenge was Identity. And Identity is a short book, 56,000 words. And it started off more personal than fantasy. And then as I got writing, my fantasy took over and it became a novel. Just barely a novel. 56,000 words barely qualifies it, but it made it. So it's barely a novel, so it's in there now as a novel. One of the things I wanted to do, especially on this website, on this YouTube thing, is let you know that there is a website that has my information about the books, about my life, what's happened with me, about my writing life. These are different things that come up as I'm writing, and also short stories, plays, poems, all that sort of stuff is available in there. It's all free. You just have to go online and go to short stories and plays and bring them up. So it's Angel. My website is Jane's Adventures in Storyland. And then you can just take that and put www.janesadventuresinstoryland.com, and you have the website. And you'll find all that good stuff on the website. If you want to purchase a book on the website, that's great. I would love that. It's not necessary, but I would love it. And I will autograph it for you and dedicate it for you too. And it's free shipping. So they're on my website. I think that's pretty good. This is about how far I wanted to go on my first video. I've never done this before, like I say, and I hope it's coming out okay. And thank you very much. Again, this is Jane Lee, and author. Thank you.